So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for joining this morning or wherever you are in the evening or afternoon. We're very grateful to have you join us for this very first speaker series by Splicer Films and in partnership with Fraternity Without Borders and Ubuntu Nation. We want to welcome you to this first speaker series. This particular topic is how to lead social change and start a cause. Splicer Films has been working on a project that helps to bring forth social movements and spotlight leaders around the world and those who are taking on social issues, many that are sustainable development goals such as poverty, food insecurity, barriers to education and healthcare. And today we're going to be spotlighting speaker Maick Mutej. So I'll be introducing him and then we'll get started with Q&A. But first wanted to thank everyone for coming today. What you see on the screen right now is visual pictures and some of the highlights of what we'll be talking about in terms of Maick and the work that he's done in Malawi and specifically at Dzaleka refugee camp when he started Ubuntu Nation. But first I want to welcome the audience and participants from around the world. We have people from Malawi, Brazil, participants from Democratic Republic of the Congo. Maick Mutej is in Bukavu today. We have participants in Ivory Coast, Senegal, Morocco, USA, and Rwanda. And if I missed any, oh, we have Canada. Hey, Bob, I'm super excited to have you as well. So we have representation from many, many countries. And if we missed anyone, put it in the chat and we'll definitely call that out as well. So today we really want to talk about reaching global audiences to spark meaningful conversation and change in the world. We welcome participation, so please add your questions in the chat. Kelly, who is co-hosting, will be working on queuing up those questions so that we can prioritize them and get to them by the end of the Q&A and the end of the session. So feel free to add them to the chat and she'll be going through those. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Maick Mutej. Maick Mutej he's in Bukavu, DRC today, and was a refugee whose tragedy led him to find his calling to help thousands of marginalized refugees in Malawi. He is a grassroots changemaker who co-founded Ubuntu Nation project in partnership with Fraternity Without Borders. And his goal was really to advocate for others and improve the lives of the refugees he met when he arrived at the Dzaleka refugee camp approximately about 4 years ago. His inspiring story shows leadership in the face of adversity and really leadership in crisis and how one person's activism can really change the world for many. So Maick will be profiled in an upcoming docuseries, Unmasked, and the docuseries is about unsung heroes who lead social causes. And today, he will share all about his journey, how he got started in starting this particular social cause and serving his community and advocating for those in need by co-founding this particular social cause, Ubuntu Nation. So welcome, Maick. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who is participating now.
So Maick, I want to start today. If you could just share a little bit about your background, how you got interested in serving the community there, and how you started Ubuntu Nation. If you could just share with us your journey and what sparked this and what fueled your passion to co-found Ubuntu Nation.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. You know, for me, I had like a dream for my life, and I didn't know that one day I could find myself in a refugee camp. So, you know, as life planned or God planned, it happened like I lost everything that I had, and I find myself in a refugee camp, you know, where I needed to start life from zero. And I went through many challenges. And when I when I went out of those challenges, I could, feel the pain what refugees used to feel, when they arrive in the camp. So I could experiment the life of refugees and what's mean to be a refugee, you know. So that's why I decided to start something, you know. Of course, the wish was to do much, but in that moment I couldn't do anything. I mean, I couldn't do much. So I said, okay, it was good to call people. It was good to join people together and to sensibilize them, to tell them that together we can be strong. So I could mobilize people and start a CBO, an organization, a community-based organization, which we called Union of Refugees for Development, which was, hosting all the people from different nationalities that we have in the camp. Then after we started, making bricks, and people who knew how to build started building, and everyone was bringing his little contribution, and then that's how we started.
Amazing. So it started very grassroots, and then you went from the CBO, which is community-based organization, to a broader organization with Ubuntu Nation and partnership with Fraternity Without Borders. So can you tell us a little bit about how you started to define the project's goals, initiatives? It's clear there was a lot of need there at the camp, and you knew there had to be something to be done. How did you define and formalize a project and come to decide on Ubuntu Nation and its priorities in partnership with an NGO? Can you tell us about that journey, how you were able to prioritize the goals and get funding to kick it off into a bigger, broader project?
Yes, exactly. In that moment, we were keeping with the little that we had. Of course, we were able to to connect with friends, and one of my best friend, Clarissa, I talked to her about what we are doing, and she was amazed and joined us, and together we started like fighting. Is with her, or if is with her that we could find through her that we could find fraternity. But the challenges, we have many different challenges in the camp. Of course, it's hard to choose what's to work on it, what's to help, because like everyone is vulnerable, and everyone is facing like a difficult moment. But among those people, children are the most vulnerable. So we decided to start something for children, because children cannot fight for themselves. They need someone to help them. So that's why among those challenges, we prioritize to start a school for children, but at the same time also to give food, to the children, because it's really sad to see children staying without food, So it was like, of course, an idea, because if the children could go to school, they couldn't understand anything if they couldn't have also food. So that's how we come up with that. That's how we choose, to start with education and giving food among the priorities.
Amazing. So Ubuntu Nation, can you tell us a little bit about, how the name came about, and then how you were able to partner with an NGO and get support to start the school and start building? In particular, how you named it, how you started it, and how you funded it.
Okay. I think I'm going to start with the name of the Ubuntu Nation project. People go to the camp for many reasons. So one of the reasons that people go to the camp is discrimination from their own country. So we wanted to create something which could receive everyone, which could welcome everyone, even if they're discriminated. For example, among the reasons that bring people to the camp, we have this other tribe called Banyamulenge. It's a tribe which is rejected from, of course, which came from Rwanda so many years ago, and is living in Congo, but they are not recognized as part of the nation, either from Rwanda or from Congo. So it creates like civil war, and then they have to leave, and they have nowhere to go. So this is one of the reason which pushed us to name the project Ubuntu, which means a nation where people could, feel home, a nation without discrimination, so that everyone, when they come to the project, they feel like part of the family. For them to not feel like they are like rejected. So we wanted to put our difference aside, and to put what we have in common. We are all human beings. So this is the reason why we call the project Ubuntu, and we find it, or we partnered with Fraternity Without Borders through a friend, Clarissa Pies. When she joined us, we started fighting together, but we didn't have a mean to keep up with the project. So she went back to Brazil, her country, tried to find people who could help us. So thanks God, she could find Fraternity Without Borders. So when they came to see what we are doing, they said, wow, it's amazing. How come people who are facing challenges, and they're trying to help other people, even if they don't have anything. So they got amazed with the project and start sponsoring everything that we are doing.
That's remarkable. It's started so small, and through those connections and through connecting with this organization, it sounds like it started to expand. And I know we've talked about this before. You started with education and helping the children, and then offering nutritional programs. But it sounds like with Ubuntu Nation, it's expanded to other initiatives. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, how you identified other needs and how you start to prioritize that for people in the audience who are thinking about starting a social cause? It sounds very daunting, but it sounds like it's very attainable and feasible with the will and presence to make it happen. So from your, limited resources, you started to expand. Can you tell us how it went from education to vocational to some of the other initiatives that Ubuntu Nation offers? I think you've mentioned agroforestry and biocharcoal. Tell us how that started and how you launched those other aspects of the project.
Yes, thank you so much. Me being a refugee, knew the exactly challenges that refugee face. So when I was choosing, I knew I was choosing the correct thing because I was facing the same challenge. So I knew that education for children was important. Giving food for children, of course, for the all volunteers that have been part of the project was also important. But another important thing was, to create job opportunities. Refugees are not allowed to work in Malawi. So, it's really, I can say, crazy because, we have more than 50,000 people living in one place and not doing anything. The people who have like a crazy background, they went through trauma, they went through, discrimination, or I don't know, many challenges. They are coming from war. So they find themselves in a place because they want peace. That's why refugees are leaving their own countries, because they want to find a safe place. They want to live in peace. So, when they go out to try to find a better place to live as a human being, so they find themselves in a kind of prison, and not doing anything with many restrictions. So it's give them, you know, like it destroying much more, than what you can imagine. So I was thinking, okay, let's create this space for them. Let's have let's create a workshop, like tailoring, like agroforestry, biochar, and other workshop, like an activity which they could be doing, during their life. They're living in the camp. Also, for them to receive something by the end of the month, for them to have food at their home. So that's why, that's what we added also. That's workshop as job opportunity, as a priority for refugees who are just living and staying in the camp without doing anything.
Amazing. So it sounds like the children have a routine there at the camp. They have their education. Parents are able to now become more self-sustainable, or self-sustained through some of the workshops and the project through Ubuntu Nation. And then now there's the agroforestry, so they're able to come and farm and provide. And tell us about the biocharcoal. You'd mentioned that before, that there's some hurdles there in terms of using wood and some of that. Can you tell us how you identified that as yet another need to bring into the project?
Yes, as you're saying, each workshop has as an importance according to what we are doing, or according to the place, like the camp. So, for example, agroforestry, we want to produce food, so that as many people can, have something to eat. So for biochar also, it's the same. Malawi is kind of, I don't know, desert place. We don't have rain all the time. So, we have only 3 months of the rain, and we don't have a lot of trees. So, we wanted to create a project which could fight against the deforestation, and at the same time, to give, as I told you, the work opportunity for refugees.
And can you share with us a little bit about how you're able to sustain this project? So you've shared, how to get started. This was very grassroots. You identify these problems in the community and start to solve them. and it was clear you were able to get early support. How have you been able to sustain it? How many years has this project been going? And what would you suggest to those in the audience who would like to start their organization and find a way to keep it running to support those projects that you have launched within the community?
Yes, the sustainability of the Ubuntu Nation program project, sorry, came with the way that fraternity defined how to help. There are many people who choose. They made a way that people could donate a little bit money every month, from their salary, like $5 per month or $10 per month. So it's a kind of easy for many people, to engage themselves to be giving. So that makes us to have more people who contributes each and every month, and that's make at least something to keep sustaining the project. But since the pandemic, we lost, of course, many people, who used to give contribution, because those people also lost, many of them lost their job. So after the pandemic, we decided also to see if we could create a local sustainability, like by starting selling, the product like biochar, to produce more food and sell a little bit, to the community at a lower price, and so that the rest of the money could keep helping in the project. This is how we sustain the project.
Amazing. So if you can share with us, I mean, it sounds like, well, to recap for those, it's the monthly recurring revenue, or the monthly recurring donors is important. So just continuing to work on fostering those relationships and whenever possible, continue to sustain the project. So all of the things that are being sold within the camp there can actually go back and fund schools and the like. Can you tell us where you are in terms of the growth of how many schools, how many, maybe how you're measuring success in terms of the impact of the workshops as well as the education? I know you've shared this with me before, but I wanted to see if you can kind of share with the group how you're measuring that impact and sharing that back with your donors.
Yes, as I was saying, the little supports make great things. Today we have over 350 children in the school. We have more than 250 volunteers working every day in the project, and we have realized many things through the little donation. We put out people from the transit, the place where people arrive in the camp, they don't have house, they sleep on the floor, so we built many houses for them. So the way that we share this realization with the sponsors, we used to to take videos or images, like pictures, of the of people sharing what are they feeling, in the moments that they are receiving. Sometimes in life, it's a lot. There's a moment in life where you don't believe anymore in a change, because you have been waiting for so long of that change, and you stop thinking about it anymore, and you are not expecting anything. So to see someone coming from nowhere and just give you the thing that you have been waiting for so long, So it's create a moment of incredible joy. So we take that in images and we present to the donors. For the people who are not able to speak, we just take pictures and write a comment. And we always thank them, for what they always do.
So it sounds like the recommendation there is obviously sharing stories and some of the impact at a personal level of maybe how a family has been able to sustain there, or maybe even the children graduating. Can you share a little bit with us how the school, how many years the school's been in operation, and a little bit more about that, if it's expanded beyond the kinder and first grade? How is that evolving?
Yes, the school, we started with the preschool, and we started with almost 200 kids. And then after a year, of course, we stopped because of the pandemic, then we came back, and then we had a graduation. So it was amazing, an incredible moment, because in the camp, we don't have enough school. So if we talk about 50,000 refugees, half of the population are children. So we have only one school, So sometimes you might find in one class, like more than 100 children, with one teacher. So it's like, it's not education. So we wanted to give the best education to our children. So, we created a school and we put 30 in each class and 3 teachers for them to receive like the best qualified education. Then, the parents was happy to see that. The parents was like, amazed in that moment, because they don't have money to pay for the school fee, So it was an incredible moment for them, and it's make us, to be happy and to try to do as much as we can, because it represents so much. Every parent wants their kid or his kid to learn, to go to school, to have like a future. But when you are in the camp, how can you define the future for your children if they don't have, if there is no school where they can go, So that's how the parents express their feelings of happiness.
That's remarkable, Maick. And if you can share just a little bit more about, we've talked about how you got started and the support and the impact. How are you going about finding the volunteers to help? You mentioned building homes for refugees and also, building the schools. Where do you find the volunteers to help build this project and continue to expand it?
Yes, the volunteer has been found in the camp, also from Malawian community, because we wanted to, as I told you, to bring people together, like to, to make, I missed the word, but yeah, just to bring people together. So we wanted to bring people from the camp, also from the community, Malawian community in the villages. So the volunteers have been choosing according to their knowledge, but according also to their vulnerability. So we always see who's coming, try to have some information about the person, and try to see if we can give them the opportunity to volunteer. So it's 2 things about the vulnerability, also about if he or she knows how to do it.
So you're basically tapping into the skill set and the talents of the refugees there, and then asking them to participate as volunteers. So it sounds like it's a very empowering model that Ubuntu Nation has to bring the volunteers or people who don't have other opportunities there at the camp to serve. And can you tell us about how many of the volunteers are from the camp that are participating in the project?
So as of now, I think we have more than 200 people from the camp who are participating now there. Yes.
There's something just so unique and empowering about that. We often think about starting an organization and bringing outsiders in to help those in need. But that's just such a beautiful way to approach it, where those who are in need are able to step up and serve. And I think that's, what's been so remarkable and unique about Ubuntu Nation is it's the community there that found, that has the need and is really banding together. It's a true joint effort, and that's remarkable. Do you all?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Because the camp is like congested by different skills, because people have background from their countries. They were able to go to school. They were having a normal life before. I don't know the reason which pushed them to go to the camp. So finding themselves in the camp with the skills that they learn at school. So they're like doing anything. So let's use that school that we all have to try to improve our community. So that's what we do.
Amazing. Do you all welcome visitors and volunteers from other parts of the world as well? You mentioned there at the camp in Malawi. Do you have volunteers outside of the region as well?
Yes, exactly. We receive volunteers from all around the world. People who want to, sometimes to like give a support. We receive doctors from different side of the world who used to come and spend like 10 days treating refugees for free. Most of them bring their instruments and medicine, because in the camp we have only a small clinic for 50,000 refugees. So sometimes it's happened like people die in their houses. So, we call also for volunteers, doctors, but we call also for like anyone, anyone who wants to volunteer is welcome, as we do in the camp. Any skill, is welcome. So that's what we do for everyone. If there's anyone who wants to come and contribute by working with ideas, teachers, so they are all welcome.
Excellent. So we'll definitely share more about how people can get connected if they wanted to get plugged in and volunteer or share resources. Can you tell us you told us a little bit about how the pandemic has affected maybe the monthly recurring donations. Are there still issues that are impacting the project from the pandemic? What is the current state of the project considering the pandemic?
Yes, the pandemic has affected so much the project, but not only negatively, but also positively, because it made us to think of the future. It made us to think of the sustainability. But in terms of volunteers, doctors, which is like one of the most important action that we do in the camp, because when we receive doctors, they used to treat per day, like they used to treat for a period of 10 days more than 3,000 people, you know, doing surgery, doing, you know, different kind of, you know, intervention according to the experience that they have. We have dentists, I mean, all kind of areas of medicine. So that's, you know, for me, that's the most negative points that I mean, impact of the COVID, like to stop receiving volunteers from, you know, from outside.
Is some of that changing now? Is it starting to change, or is there still a gap or shortage of volunteers?
Yes, and it's changing. I think in March we are going to receive doctors, and also this month of February, I think we are going to receive some team, I think from France. So they're also going to help in the project. So now it's changing.
It's great to hear. You know, I've asked quite a lot of questions, and I wonder if, you know, we can just go a little broader here. If there's any advice that you want to give to those who are thinking about starting a project like Ubuntu Nation or serving in their own community, what would you advise anyone who's listening to, in terms of getting started and managing a project like this?
Yes, you know, the first step is to have the wish to help, the true wish to help, the love of helping others. You know, I believe that we all live to be happy, but there's no bigger happiness than helping others, you know. And that's when we realize that life is all about loving others, you know. So the first thing to have is the love for others, to have a consideration for the people that are in front of us, you know. So if we start having that spirit of loving others, so we are going to start thinking of how to help them. To start something is like, it's not to have much, you know. We can create projects because we have like only money to give. We can create projects in many ways. We can help in many ways. So the other thing is to do what you can with what you have, you know, not planning like, okay, when are you going to have, you know, just do with what you have and let the future give you what you don't have. Another thing to know is that when we are true, there's like always big outcome. So of course, we can always try to talk to friends, sharing our ideas of what we are thinking of changing, or of, you know, of doing for others. Because in each and every one, there is like that's, you know, that's something, I mean, something which could contribute, you know, to what we want to do for others. So sharing with friends, getting ideas, you know, because alone we cannot make it, but together we can.
It's so inspiring, Maick. You know, it just shows the will and the desire and the passion to get started is the bulk of it. Everything else, you know, can follow. And it sounds like, you know, that the success of Ubuntu Nation came from just that, you all on the ground having the will and the desire to help. You know, I know you've been working on Ubuntu Nation Can you share where you're going next? How do you transition from one project to another, and how you identify needs and move on to new projects? Can you share with us what's happening in your journey now as you're seeking to start another project and what that's all about?
Exactly. I think to explain how I did the transition, maybe it's going to be quite long, but you know, we receive a call from someone to come to help in the projects of, you know, an orphanage, and we came and we saw that the situation here in Congo is really hard, you know, because we have many children who live in the street. Only in Bukavu, we have more than 15,000 kids in the street, because they're coming from, most of them are coming from the villages, because the villages are insecure, and they all come to the city. And most of them lost their parents, or, you know, because when there's war, you don't know where to go, you just go. And, you know, so that situation is really, when I came, it's really touched my heart. And then, and we said, like, okay, we needed to do something. So the project that we are doing here is for girls who live with their baby on the street, like teenagers, 14 years, 15 years old, but with babies living on the street. They got babies because they are doing prostitution to be able to live. There's no job for them. There's nothing which they could do to get something to survive. So they go like doing prostitution and got babies, and they're living outside. So it's really sad, you know. So we started, so we decided to receive first the babies, and then with their mothers. So on Monday, this Monday, we are going to receive 5 mothers who are having like seven children in total, and 2 of them are pregnant. So we decided to take them, you know, for to avoid them to give birth on the street. So, and we are going also to see if we can get some young girls who are not pregnant yet, like around 10 or 11 years, you know, to prevent them to get pregnant and to go through trauma. So that's what we are doing. But the idea is to, you know, to take as much as we can. You know, 15,000 is not a small number, but as we always do, we do what we can. So this is how it's all about.
Wow, that is just hard to believe. It's very difficult to comprehend, and we applaud you and Ubuntu Nation, or Fraternity Without Borders, for taking that on. I mean, it sounds like you had to leave the project that you were working on to take this new project on and move. But it sounds like it's very much needed. And so if there's anything that we can do to help you spread the word about starting this new initiative and get the word out there to help support, do let us know, and we'll certainly share with everybody here in attendance and across social media.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And as I told you, together we can.
Yeah. You know, I know we're right at about 15 minutes before the top of the hour, and I certainly wanted to open it up to questions. So I'll have a look at the ones that have been queued up so far and go from there. So we have one of the first questions here is if you could share with us a little bit about, walk us through a day in your life and how you balance the work that Ubuntu Nation does and obviously starting this new project as well. I guess, what is it like personally, just thinking about this journey? What is a day in the life of Maick? And I would love to hear it, not just the logistics of the projects and, you know, getting up and doing your work, but also emotionally. This is heavy subject matter and big problems to solve. I would love to hear about that. And it sounds like, you know, the audience does too. So can you please share?
Like, how is my day? Like, you know, that's a question. Can you repeat again the question?
Yes. What is your day like?
Okay.
With, you know, managing these projects? And then of
Yes.
course, the follow-on question is emotionally, what is it like as well?
Okay. You know, to be honest, it affects much. You know, when you start looking for a solution for others, you feel much more dependent than what they're feeling. It's like, you know, um, it's put pressure on you. Emotionally, it's kind of, you are always kind of sad, you know, until you see what you are looking for. What you are looking for is to be able to see that person going out of this situation. But sometimes it's not happening like the way you wish. Sometimes you wish to do something, but you are not able to do the thing. So it's always like, it's heavy, to be honest. But at the same time, there's like some moments where you know, you feel happy. Happy because you see the success that you can do, you know, or you see how much it's to help others when they go out of the situation that they are living in. It's you know, my life is like, when you wake up, you start thinking of solution. During the day, keeping of like thinking of the solution. But you know, days are like, it's, you know, it's like you're fighting, not for, okay, of course for you, because that's what you want to do, but you are fighting to find solution, you know, for others. And sometimes, you know, maybe I'm going to say sorry to say this, because this is the question you're asking me. It's like, when people see, like in Malawi, when you receive people, they talk about their own problem. Every time, you know, every person you receive, talk about their own problem. It's hard sometimes to see someone who just go, "Hi, Maick, how are you?" Even if they want to talk about their problem, because they are excited, you know, to see like, like what can come as solution for them. You know, sometimes it's like, by the end of the day, you know, it gets, I don't know, really sad. But of course, it's my choice. And you know, when you keep on doing, the result give you a consolation. The result make you sometimes, you know, relieve. So for me, I think that, uh, if I don't have that pressure, maybe I will stop doing. I need to be like, feel like pushed to keep, doing more. It's why I say it's a call, it's a vocation. There's no way of running away from it.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned it is a call, and that there's many challenges on a daily basis. And it sounds like there is support of others in the project, other leaders within the project, that you all come together and talk about, the emotional aspect of trying to solve big problems and making progress along the way, but maybe wanting to go bigger or faster sometimes.
Mhm.
I know you've
Exactly.
mentioned before, even some of the challenges are logistics of finding, um, as you're looking in Bukavu to build an orphanage, finding land, affordable, logistics like that. Can you just share a little bit about some of those hurdles and how you're overcoming them or finding ways to take those on?
Yes, for example, in Bukavu, because everyone is running from the villages to come in the city, so it
Mhm.
make like space or land to be very expensive,
Mhm.
not affordable, and if you can't go far, like from the city, because it's kind of dangerous. So um, we couldn't find like a land, so we thought of renting a house for us to be able to receive children. So that is what we decided to do. So as of now, we are renting a place to be able to receive. I think this is maybe what we'll be doing until maybe we see what we could do. So we are going to be renting. We put the children, and so maybe it's what we do. Let's see what is going to happen.
Yeah, I know you've talked about short-term solutions like that, renting before buying the land and building the orphanages that are larger, but the small milestones will get you to the bigger milestones. We have several other questions coming in, and I know we have about 6 more minutes, so we'll kind of think about how to balance that. One question that just came up, it's multiple, so I'll read it out. This is from Bob. He wants to ask, who administers the camp? The refugee camp at Seleka. Is the UN or the government of Malawi involved? And he asks, how can we assist with maybe reaching out to the United Nations or others to help raise awareness, funds, recognition? And how might we be able to help you and the Ubuntu Nation team move this forward? So who's involved and who should maybe those supporters reach out to help bolster
Yes,
support?
they want. I mean, the camp, the Jaleka refugee camp, is managed by the government of Malawi, but in partnership with UNHCR, because UNHCR is giving the support to the government, but the government is managing, because we are in Malawi. So the government of Malawi is supposed to control what is happening in their own country. So that's why they are managing. But of course, they are receiving help from UNHCR. But as of now, we have like Clarissa Pies, who is now coordinating the Ubuntu project. So maybe you can, Annette can share the contact, and if they can reach her, she's going to like to give like correct answers on how to like to bring, I mean, to reach the help to the refugees in need.
So we can take that as a next step, and when Kelly sends out maybe just a follow-on email, we can grab that information from Clarissa, who at UNHCR we could maybe contact, and also how to bolster support, not just for the broader refugee camp, but also the organizations that are supporting at a grassroots level, like Ubuntu Nation and others.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We'll be sure to share that information from you and Clarissa. There are a couple of others here. Melanie asks, have there been any other hardships outside of the setbacks due to the global pandemic that you've had to overcome with the project?
Yes, of course, we didn't receive like enough support to keep with the project. I mean, the resources went down, and we had also to close to stop some of the actions that we are doing, and we, I mean, it's all about that. When we were like receiving enough, I mean, not enough support, but at least good support. But we, when the support went down, the resources went down. So we reduced also some of the actions that was really important. That's all about.
Thank you. One last question before we wrap up. This has been very enlightening. You had mentioned briefly, and Trevor's asking this about your journey and this journey to start your project, and obviously as you became a refugee, that it was a call from God. How has faith played a role and a part in your life so far?
You mean faith?
Yes, you mentioned that the journey was a call from God, and we wanted to know how faith has played a role in your life.
Yes, I couldn't make it without faith. It was the last thing which remained with me. It's like I lost everything, lost like parents, friends, people who you could count on, who could remain with you. I didn't know anyone when I was in the camp, so only God. Yeah. I could talk only with God, and so only faith could make it, could make me be who I am. So faith is all what is making me, who is me. Yes.
It's remarkable. You've mentioned the Ubuntu philosophy and how that shaped Ubuntu Nation. Faith is a big part of your life. Some people may not necessarily have a certain belief, but the Ubuntu philosophy was a very unique thing that, when you shared with us, has such a universal reach. And I wanted you to share a little bit about how you define Ubuntu, the philosophy, before we wrap up, if you would.
Yes. The philosophy of Ubuntu is uniting us. It's because some people don't want to be close to others because they think of differences that we have, because maybe they are rich or white or black or for any other reason, and we wanted the Ubuntu philosophy means to put aside our difference and to put what we have in common. We are all human beings. You see, the Ubuntu philosophy is showing us that everyone are brothers and sisters. If we are helping others, it's not because they are poor, but because they are our brothers. It's like showing that like the family is not about blood, it's not blood which is making family, but it's love. So it's showing that we don't need to choose who to love because they're coming from our blood, because they are like from our nationality. We need to love everyone. You know, the Ubuntu philosophy means I am because we are. We need each other. We are all one. We are all brothers and sisters. So it means that let's be together. It means humanity. It means unity.
Thanks, Mike. That's so special and it's so touching. I start to tear up because it is just a very powerful philosophy, and one that it's clear you live by, and your faith, and that has led to starting your these projects that are so impactful. I want to thank you for sharing your journey and for sharing how this this started, and how just the inspiration that you're sharing with others to get started and help their brothers and sisters around the world as well. No matter how big or small, it shows that with very little you can make a huge impact, and that's really remarkable. And we look forward to following your journey. I want to thank everybody for joining. We'll be sharing more about Mike's personal journey in the Unmasked film, which is being produced by Splicer Films. So you'll see that on social media. We'll be sharing that as a follow-up as we continue to follow his journey and release that documentary, as well as other heroes who are doing remarkable work around the world. Follow Mike on Instagram to learn more about his projects and the new project in Bukavu. And I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their Saturday to join us. We will share the recording on YouTube. Look out for social media highlights on our social media channels as well. And join us February 19th. We will have another education or another speaker series, this time with Evelyn Keomian. I'm challenged, but I think I got her pronunciation right. Evelyn is from the Ivory Coast, and she grew up where girls were not allowed to go to school. And she has single-handedly really broken down a lot of barriers to education and is a major education advocate. So she's going to be talking about her nonprofit, her organization that she started, the Carrot School Project. It has reach in Ivory Coast. It's available to start educating girls there, as well as some of her reach in Palo Alto, California. So she'll be sharing that. Do register. You can scan the QR code. Follow us on the Eventbrite. It will show how to register there. And we want to thank everybody again for joining. And grazie, we'll try to say as many thank yous from all the different languages. Merci, grazie, obrigado, from all of the countries around the world. We're so grateful for you joining us today, and thank you again. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.